and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, I'm here. Who won the fight with me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all of the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. How y'all doing out there? And it do feel good to be back. I adjusted my workout time, man. I normally be working out in the mornings. I used to get up real early. But now I just get up and go. And then when I get off, as soon as I get off, I got to work out. So unless I work out, I can't do the live, even though I've been working out. It's just what I had planned was to go ahead and dive into this 140. But, sometimes it's not really always like my plan per se. I go by the pulse of boxing. And, I'll be putting my feelers out and gathering, common themes, checking out narratives. And just, figuring out what's going on, how people feel, and looking at things from my perspective. I got to give my time to digest it, because one thing I learned when I was going live all day, every day, is like, man, it's really a job, especially when you're qualifying information and you're trying to develop your own perspective, not necessarily reinventing the wheel, but making the wheel a little bit better. You feel me? And I really wanted to go into the 140, which I am going to touch on the 140, but I had this whole thing that I'm doing, but I think it's going to take a little more time than what I thought, because how I wanted to look and what I want to do with it. But it's kind of like we in a quagmire with this whole Tank and Roach fight. And I'd be remiss if I didn't go into the curriculum, which I am going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead and do the curriculum real quick, because I know that it is necessary. We got to talk about gaslighting, because it's still going on. It's still going on, man. Gaslighting is ever present in today's conversation. It's present in relationships. It's present in, if you're in a work environment, it's present in the work environment. You know what I'm saying? Get your hand out my pocket. I ain't got my hand in your pocket. Well, why do I feel you on my, you know what I'm saying? That's gaslighting, man. The modern definition of gaslighting is a psychological manipulation technique in which a person tries to convince someone that their reality is untrue. It is a tactic often used by narcissists to gain control of their intended target, and it's a couple of narcissists out here, man, who have mastered it, and I salute them. One of them I look at like the hardest working man in boxing, especially when it comes to talking about it. I salute them for the work ethic and all the different things that they have going on. But golly, if narcissism was personified, that be them. You know what I'm talking about? So I give my salutes. I give my credit where it's due. But I had to be true to myself and acknowledge what I'm seeing. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I can't, I can't knock nobody's hustle. I can't do it. I can't do it. But gaslighting is present because a lot of people play games, a lot of people use words, a lot of people regurgitate narratives. A lot of people, I'm finding a lot of people probably can't get a lot of the stuff that they get off online. They can't get it off in their personal lives, so they come online to get it off. You know what I'm saying? Somebody probably in real life probably kicking their ball over the fence every day, so they get online and try to trigger people. They insult people, and then when you call them out about it, then it's all this, oh man, look at you. Yeah, man, you poking the bear, man. I'm past all of that. I'm past all of that dumb shit, man. Like, man, this channel is really for people. Like, it's really for intellectuals, man. People that know how to communicate, people that can break things down. And it's probably for a more mature audience. Definitely not a casual audience. Because casuals, man, I put their ass in a sling like every chance I get. It's hard because there's a lot going on with boxing. And even when you're looking at it and everything, it might be a source, it might be an article, it might be an interview that you don't see. But most people, they don't even read. They don't go up, they don't look at the rankings, they find somewhere, like I said, they find somewhere where they can get their back scratched and their balls rubbed, and they dig in. And when you call them out, then you're being unfair. Then you're being harsh. Well, you talking to me like that? It's like, man, like, stop it. That's gaslighting. But I remember, and I'm not going to prolong this, but I remember the curriculum part. Trust me, it's important, especially if you listen to this on the playback. Like, if you ride and you going to work, you coming back from work, you know what I'm saying? You doing something where you can listen, but you can't really, like, you don't really need to have to watch. This is going to be crucial for you. I was talking about, I gave the comparison of Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont the Reaper Roach. I gave the comparison of the tortoise and the hare. And I wasn't calling Roach a roach. That was my satire in my thumbnails. But I wasn't calling him a tortoise. I was using the analogy to demonstrate what I saw taking place in that fight. And we all know Aesop's fable, so I touched on that. But in hindsight, in looking at it, I've touched on this before on a couple of my lives. I talk about the dung beetle, right? And I think it's relative to this because I'm seeing and hearing a lot of like silly jargon, man. It's like you can't get anywhere in boxing conversations because people be stuck on what they think that they need to hear, or they stuck on what they believe, right? But the dung beetle, right, they collect waste, right? They roll up these balls of waste. And before, when I talked about it, I talked about how a dung beetle will spend all their time, because that's where they lay their eggs. Some of them live in them, some of them, they operate in waste. It's just the nature of the beast. That's why they call it a dung beetle. But they'll roll up, some of these dung beetles, they'll roll up these big old balls. They call them rollers, right? And they'll roll them because they got to travel with them. They got to get the ball from point A to point B for whatever, like, because their whole thing is to procreate. So they lay their eggs in it. They might live in it. They use it. You know what I'm saying? But they'll roll these balls and they'll struggle. They might try to get up. They might be rolling up the hill and it'll go down. So they got to run down and get it. And they got to roll it up and they might get almost all the way to the top. Then they'll roll back down. And then finally, struggle with it. They get it all the way up to the top of the hill. And another dung beetle will come out the cut on the downward side. You know what I'm saying? You did all that hard work. Busting your hamstrings, busting your thigh muscles. Calves burning. Forearms on fire. You done got it all the way up to the top. You done built and made this thing for yourself. You done created this big ass pile of shit, which is very valuable to them now. That's how they feed their family. and then all of a sudden, another dung beetle just come out the cut. Now you fatigued. They just come out the cut and grab your shit. Literally, like, I mean, that shit, that's what it is. It's dumb. They grab your shit, they knock you off and grab your shit. You know what I'm saying? And then they roll with it. And that's what I'm seeing, man, with this in hindsight, man, with this tank and Lamont Roach thing, right? But they call them klepto dung beetles. Some dung beetles are known to be klepto parasites, meaning they steal dung balls from other beetles. And what are you talking about, Mike? If you listen, I'm gonna tell you, right? Listen, they were saying that Lamont Roach wasn't shit. Oh man, why Tank wanna fight him? Man, like, oh, there you go. Tank don't fight nobody. Not giving that man respect. I said, listen, man, if Lamont Roach wasn't fighting Tank, I'd be rooting for him. He just fighting one of my guys. It is what it is. I want them all to win because they from the DMV area. They feeding their family. They setting an example. I even talked about how I was praying to the boxing guys that they didn't rob him against Hector Garcia, because if he wouldn't have got that knockdown, guess what? The business of boxing. The business of boxing. I'm telling you, because they were trying to do it when you look at the scorecards in the Hector Garcia fight. But I stay true to mine. I know when the business of boxing is rearing its ugly little head. Right? But I also talked about hindsight is 2020. Right? This is the last part of the curriculum, and I'm gonna break this down, man. I'm gonna break this down. But I talked about this, I think it was last week, about hindsight being 2020. The idiom hindsight is 2020 refers to the ability to see things more clearly after they've happened. And it's derived from a term 2020 vision, which indicates normal vision acuity. So it's a metaphor, man. It's basically like when you stand back, and they say that when you stand back approximately 20 feet, you have relaxed eyes when you're looking at it, and you should be able to read 20 of those letters. That's why they call it hindsight 2020. That's what they call it. But in all actuality, what I've been talking about, and I've been talking about this, man, this is the basis of my channel. I say silence is consent, meaning that if you're going to keep it a buck, and you keep it a buck at all times, a lot of the times in the present, you're going to say things that don't resonate or register with people. Only they will in hindsight, after they've seen or whatever. You can call me, I guess you could call me, in one example of me being a hindsight, if I had an example, would be the Bud versus Earl Spence. Okay, in hindsight, okay, cool, you got me. I had Earl. But it's not many you can catch me being a hindsight is 2020. Now, sometimes, just like a movie, when you look at the movie and afterwards you done seen it, you be like, oh, okay, so that's what that meant when he walked down that hall and he checked that door, or when that lady walked by and said blah, 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 or whatever it is you see. So, yeah, you can piece some things together and you be like, oh, okay, cool, that makes sense. But most of the time, I try to get out in front of it. And I try to be transparent, because that's the only way. Like, if you don't have any resources to be able to talk to these boxers, you don't get interviews, you don't have access to them, you know, you have to like basically look at the data, the empirical data. You have to look at the records, you have to look at the rankings. Like, if you go back and look at my live, I told you that I said somebody gonna pick this guy Steve Claggett. Sam Noakis is coming up too. We talked about Jen Sensaki. It was on my lives because I was just doing it based on history and how people choose opponents and what's going on with boxing. I said, somebody's going to do it. And goddamn it, T.O. did it with Steve Claggett. Nobody cried. I think Steve Claggett had 7 losses. Nobody cried about it. Nobody made a big deal. Oh, man, you the champ. You know, you need to do this. You know, okay, cool. All right, cool. So whatever fan base or whatever agenda you're trying to push, you was cool with that. But everybody was up in arms about this Lamont Roach fight before it happened. And I said it. I said it on this channel. I said it on Murderers Row. I said, I'm going to tell y'all what's going to happen. After this fight, everybody's going to want to fight Lamont Roach. Well, Hindsight is 2020, right? Cause now we got Wally Kid and Wally Cat. Cause I call Bud Lionel, right? He's Lionel, right? From the Thundercat. So we got Wally Kid and Wally Cat. Wally Kid and Wally Cat is Shakur and Keyshawn. So now we got Wally Kid and Wally Cat trying to fight Lamont Roach. And I was saying, hold on. I was like, listen. When Shakur Stevenson beat Josh Padley, and they were talking to him, because everybody was like, oh, well, he did what he needed to do against Josh Padley. Some people were critical of him and said, man, a dude that just got down off of a roof on a 4-day notice, should not be able to last 9 rounds with an Olympian, a 3-division champion. Oh, man, he just so harsh. And then Shakur came out and was like, I can do no right nigga eye, so fuck him. He been said fuck us, so I've been like, okay, well, fuck you. You foreign Shakur. You don't even fight for us. And then you switch the whole thing about all his legacy. Him and Devin did the same thing. All his legacy. And then they come out and, oh, man, it's about the bag, man. I got to go get this money. I'm foreign. Shakur came out and said, I'm foreign core. That's all I needed to know. I had already went to war with a lot of other fans, man, back in Shakur. That's how I know that I'm a bigger fan than a lot of these idiots, these Johnny-come-latelys who just come around now because they hate Tank. They want to ride Shakur, but they don't even know shit about Shakur. And Keyshawn just got on the scene, but they won't be honest about it because that's Wally Kid and Wally Cat, and they in love with Bud. There, I said it. They let him get away with a lot of shit, just like they let Bud get away with a lot of shit. And in hindsight, they'll just justify whatever their actions was. Just like when Bud was saying that Canelo was too big and his weight class was for a reason, they were like, yeah, man, Bud said his weight class was for a reason and all this. But then when he said he seen something or whatever, and I don't know whatever happened, but he seen something, and then all of a sudden he want to do it. Yeah, because Bud gonna go up. It's like in hindsight, these guys are just gonna agree with whatever these guys do, and they're gonna wait till they take an action, and then they're gonna find ways. They're gonna listen to their favorite content creator, give them a couple morsels. They're gonna drop a couple morsels, and they're gonna feed off that, and they're gonna run with that, and they never grow because they say the same thing. They regurgitate the same shit every time they get online. It's the same exact point. It's the same thing. It don't grow. I said these narratives are still nursing off of milk when these narratives should be eating steak because they don't grow. There is no substance. There's nothing to it. It's just it's virtue signaling what it is. It's the blind pledge allegiance to the Tank hate. That's what it is. Now, I can say, after this fight, Tank gave his haters a lot of ammunition. Yeah, he did. But I remember after the Padley fight, people were talking about it because I had already said, I said, man, I think these dudes probably already got something going on behind the scenes. Somebody, everybody got to do what they supposed to do. Nobody can shit the bed. And I think that behind the scenes, they know a general timeline. I think that's what Tank was trying to tell us, that, hey, listen, man, I'm looking at retirement. These dudes got to stop playing. Like, he tried to do something with Loma. Shakur admitted that his team reached out or whatever. They won't come out and say that, he didn't reach out for crumpets and tea. But they won't come out and say exactly what it was, but then they said they'll revisit it. So obviously something was off, something was wrong, and Shakur decided to take action elsewhere. Ultimately, Tank lands on Lamont Roach. Tank tells everybody, man, he's a good fighter, man. He's a good fighter. Like, I know him. I grew up with him. Like, I know this guy. Like, he's solid. Oh, man, there you go. He ain't picking at nobody. You just this and this. After the Josh Padley fight, when the crosshairs went back on, and we was like, okay, Keyshawn did his thing. He did his thing. He didn't call out. He didn't keep the same energy and say, I want Tank, even though in the build-up it was knock Tank soon. I want to unify. Then after that, I don't want to be undisputed. I'm not even looking to unify. I'm just looking for the big fights. But he didn't say Tank name either. They let that go too. They'll be up Tank ass with a flashlight. They'll be up Tank fans ass with a flashlight, but it's no accountability for them and their fighters. And their only rebuttal was whatever said they're gonna wait. But with Tank, but Tank, that's all they do. I'm a realist. I said, man, when Tank fought Lamont Roach, man, Lamont Roach should have got his hand raised. And if I wasn't popular before, even though I've been holding Tank down, I've been holding Earl down, holding Mel down, all these guys, I was holding Sabril down, even anyway, to a point to where it was just like it's falling on deaf ears. Anyway, it started falling on deaf ears with Matias. So I said, you know what? I'll spend my time looking at some new guys. I'll spend my time being more divisional, looking at the pieces and what's going on. So I kind of stopped doing certain things on certain fighters, because over here, until the masses get, it's no use. Shit, run with your shit, act like they know all this and all that. Use your shit for interviews and all that. I said, so I'm gonna back off of that. But I noticed that with some of these guys, there is no accountability for their fighters, but there's all this accountability for Tank and his fans. And I'm like, we gotta stop this. Because I was like, okay, Keyshawn did his thing. We already know it's the top. He's on the top ranked guy. He got a plan. No Cruz. They agree with him when he said Cruz ain't done nothing as a pro, and that was an acceptable excuse, right? And they don't want to acknowledge that Schofield it was really Schofield and Keyshawn at first. That didn't happen. That fight fell in the Kid Austin's lap with Zepeda getting hurt and him being over there with Golden Boy, and they pushed for it. We still don't know. I haven't seen any proof. There was no legitimacy to whatever happened over there with Saudi and Schofield putting out. But originally it was Schofield and Keyshawn. No accountability for that. No accountability for that. But it fell in that fight with Shakur just fell into their lap. So then he shit the bed. Frank Martin and Keyshawn had words. They did whatever. No push. Every time you bring up Frank, oh, he's a 140 pounder. But these guys will tell you they'll go to 140 for Ryan. They'll go to 140 for Ice Hawk Pitbull Cruz. What's the common denominator? Both of them guys fought Tank. But Tank don't fight nobody. Before Lemos, Keyshawn fought Medueno and he fought Pedraza. What's the common denominator with Pedraza? Another former Tank fighter, the one who, when he was in his prime, at 22. Another common opponent, but Tank don't fight nobody. But they'll get all the legitimacy after fighting them. Like, see, that's what but see, Tank won't get no credit for fighting Loma. Even though Devin said that Loma was old a year and a half, before he fight him, he said Loma was old. Devin get all the credit for beating Loma. And now he's an old man. They just move goalposts. No accountability for them and their fighters, but all the accountability for Tank and his fans. Okay, cool. Check. After the Josh Padley fight, my focus went back to say, okay, cool. It's all on Tank. So we was waiting on Tank. But when Shakur was asked about it, he was saying, I want to fight him when my hands are good. When my hands are good. They asked him, oh, so you hurt your hand? Oh, yeah, man, I did. I hurt the other one, man. Okay, but I want to fight him when my hands are good. So I'm like, okay, so now we got to wait around for this dude's hands to be good. We hadn't got the Tank verdict yet, but that's all we was going by. This is a week apart. So they see what happened with Roach, and then all of a sudden, they pushing for Shakur and Roach. There's no talks about these hands or nothing like. I'm like, but I'm crazy. That's called gaslighting. But I'm crazy, right? And then so between Wily Kid and Wily Cat, they both want Roach now. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna be a dung beetle, because it's crazy how Lamont Roach was a nobody and he didn't need to fight him. Now it's okay for everybody else. This is a pattern That happens all the time. There are nobodies when Tank fight him. But after Tank fight him, now all of a sudden it's okay for everybody else to fight him. And that's the only name that we hear. And they'll make an excuse for anybody of some good competition. There was never no pressure like this to see, even though I want the rematch. I said Lamont should have got his hand raised. I think the outcome going to be totally different the next time around. I want it ASAP. They say in May, I want it in May. Like let's close the chapter on that. Let's run it right back. Let's get that done. Let's do that over. You know what I'm saying? May the best man win. But you know who I'm going for. That's what I want. As a fan of the sport, to see if Lamont can do what he can do enough to get his hand raised like it should have been in the first time. If he can do that again, to prove whether or not Tank had an off night, to prove whether or not Lamont just got his number, to prove that the first fight wasn't a fluke, to prove a lot of things. That's what I want. ASAP. Fuck everything else. Sometimes things happen in your life to where it alters plans, man. You see, Tank came out, he said, well, right now I probably got like 4 more. Yeah, it was like 3, but I probably got about 4 more. He was truthful. That's what I want. But everybody's pushing for it, and guess what the reasoning is? So they can see that Shakur can beat the shit out of, and I say, okay, so you don't, so they dismiss. I told you all week they was dismissing this triangle theory shit, and I said, you know, whenever you talk about common opponent, that's a triangle. So when you talk about how Jamel Herring beat Lamont Roach, right? So Jamel Herring is A, right? Lamont Roach is B, right? Shakur is C. So when you talk about Jamel Herring beating Lamont Roach, and then you talk about how Shakur beat Jamel Herring, you do know that's a triangle theory. So when they making a point, they'll dismiss it. But now it's okay to justify the triangle because they want to see Shakur beat the shit out of Lamont Roach. So they really think he can do that. I'm like, listen, if the fight happens, sign me up. I'm going to watch. I'm going to critique. I'm going to talk my shit regardless. But it's mighty funny how those hands, and no talks about no hands and no hands needing to heal and none of this and blah. Oh, he think Lamont Roach is just that sweet the way he could fight him without his hands being 100. Okay, but that's a different standard. So all that I want to fight Tank stuff, that kind of sounds like from Shakur to Tank, they ain't got shit to do with Lamont Roach was able to do in there. When I keep pointing this out, it's going to be a totally different matchup. That's like an open guard. That's an open guard fight. Orthodox versus Southpaw. Southpaw versus Southpaw is a closed guard. Like, it's different. Like, it's a whole different dynamic with that. So maybe Keyshawn might have seen, like I talked about it. I said maybe people like Devin, people like Ryan, people like Keyshawn might be like, oh, okay, cool. That's how Lamont did it from that stance. That's the stance that they fight in. Another Southpaw, what does that mean? Can you do some of the things? Can you mimic some of the things? Yeah, but that's not your style. And it's crazy how triangle theories, they don't make no sense when you say, oh, okay, well, like when I talked about how Abdullah Mason stopped that dude that had just fought Rolly, how clean, pristine he was when he did it, that was dismissed. Because that's a triangle theory, right? But now all of a sudden, the impetus for why they want Shakur to fight or Keyshawn to fight Lamont Roach, that's not a triangle. Like, they creating a triangle theory just to justify it, but that don't mean shit. And I guarantee, because it's gonna be a different ball game. Tank don't look at them dudes like they his friends. It's gonna be a different ball game. Off rip. He's not gonna show them all kind of respect. You ain't never seen Tank show nobody that kind of respect in the ring. Oh, but that's because Lamont Roach earned his respect. Listen, man, the dude was being way too respectful beforehand. And I said, as a person that was born in DC, raised in Maryland, back and forth to DC, living in Baltimore, you're not just gonna manufacture no beef for nobody. If it ain't no real beef, they not gonna go crazy, like, because you're so used to getting spoon-fed all this, the drama, the big drama show. You so used to the big drama show where people gotta create racism and create all these things and do all these antics just to get people involved, like some wrestling shit. This was like a lackluster build-up because the dudes respected each other. They know each other. They know each other's parents. Tank didn't even want to talk the way he wanted to talk because Lamont's mother was there. Like, it's not gonna be the same level of respect. It's not. But it's warranted to justify this triangle theory because now you want to see Shakur do something to Lamont Roach and all that. As boxing fans, we should be ecstatic to see it all mix up. But this is what's so crazy is, how come when Tank was for it, when Tank picked him and told everybody that, hey, he a sharp fighter, he good, man. Lamont better than what y'all think, man. I know him. He's solid. He a champion. He's not an electrician. He didn't just get off the roof. He had a full training camp. He knew about it. If it wouldn't have been Hector that last time, it was going to be Lamont Roach. It had been already discussed. It had already been talked about. But Lamont wasn't shit when Tank picked him. And now all of a sudden, everybody's justifying that Shakur can do it. And is Lamont the only other fighter out there? But then I get called a glazer because I'm like, hold on, man. I get told that I'm scared shitless because Tank fans, they just don't want to see Shakur beat the shit out of Lamont. If Shakur can beat the shit out of Lamont Roach, sign me up. I want to see it. I don't know what fans they talking about. But this is hindsight. I told y'all everybody was going to want to fight Lamont Roach after that. I told y'all that. I told y'all this was going to happen. I told y'all that Keyshawn, I told y'all when Keyshawn won that belt, he wasn't going to say Tank's name. And ain't it ironic that all these niggas nuts just dropped, like these niggas nuts done doubled or tripled in size. They had to go out and get a whole new wardrobe. They nuts got so big because they seen Lamont in there with Tank. Where was these nuts before? But everybody was, oh, Tank didn't want to fight. Tank didn't do it. Listen, in action, they didn't show that they really wanted to fight him. And if Tank reached out to your people about a fight and you said no, you go over there and you tell them, hey, don't even talk to Tank about a fight. And by the way, me and Keyshawn ain't never gonna fight. And Keyshawn, oh yeah, me and Shakur ain't never gonna fight. But I'll fight light skin though. And then you win the belt, and then you don't even say nothing about light skin. You wait till you go on another interview and tell them, stop asking me about Tank, go ask him about me. What? That whole energy changed, but it's crazy how they out now. The hindsight is 2020, boys, is back outside. Off of a performance. Off of that shitty ass performance Tank came out and had, now everybody nuts and got so big now. But it's crazy because the nuts ain't big to fight Tank. They ain't grow that big to be like, oh yeah, I'm sending you something. Let's call me. Let's get it popping. I already see. But it's crazy how after seeing that performance, everybody got all this courage now. I guess they went down the yellow brick road and seen the Wizard of Oz. But it's really courage for Lamont Roach. So now that's okay. Just like Ryan when Tank fought him, oh man, nobody Ryan now. But then Devin go do it, get his ass beat, and then they, oh man, nah, but Ryan, man, he did this. Like, come on, man. Come on. Hindsight will always be 2020 when you're listening and watching certain people online, man. The other thing that I'm gonna get to is Turki Ala, man. Turki Ala, I keep telling y'all, man, this dude keeps showing you and showing you and showing you who he really is. And I kept asking, I sound like a madman because I kept saying, oh man, I said, If I question your business acumen with all this bend the knee and kiss the ring of Ala Sheik, aka Ala Shady, because if you ever been in any kind of work environment, you've been in any kind of business, what happens when you outsource the work? I did that whole thing. Is he making American box? I wish when I get this thing back and I upgrade back again, when I get this thing back up, right, and I can actually show all of my overlays and all that, I can show you. I'll go back and do the videos where I can pull up the little clips, show you the overlays of when I did these thumbnails and I was asking, is he making American boxing great again? No. Is he adding to the sport? Yeah. But is he making American boxing great again? No. What is he showing you? It's crazy because I said, man, look, man, I'm not going to put too much energy in this Ala Sheik. You can't convince everybody. Now everybody's saying they sound like Martin Luther King when he said, I fear I've led my people into a burning house. Now when they talk about Turkey. Because now they're like, oh, man, what did we do? They're like, what did we do, man? What did we do? What is he doing? Like, nah, I don't agree. I ain't never, like, hindsight is 2020. When you point out the facts and you saying, hold on, man, you're going to relinquish all that power to somebody that ain't even from over here. He over there. Whose best interest he going to have in mind? You think he just love boxing that much? Right. I brought up, didn't I remember when I was doing the Trojan horse? I called the man a Trojan horse a long time ago. So now people are like, oh man, what is he doing? And what's so crazy is I was getting so much information and so many things to speak on when it came to Ala Sheik. I said, nah, I ain't gonna do it. But what was crazy was I saw a little snippet. I saw a little snippet of that Canelo skull, like the little face off, the initial thing. And I saw Ala Sheik look over to Canelo and tell him no WBC belt. Like basically leave that over there. Like no, no. So something that like one of the most prestigious belts to everybody know. Floyd, he made a point of making it like that way. Everybody wanted that belt because Floyd had it, the green belt. A lot of champions wanted that green belt. A lot of champions wanted that green belt. I basically just saw Turki Ala tell Canelo to stand down and don't even grab his belt. Something that he worked, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. The more and more, man, Turki is revealing more and more of himself. He already came out and said that he put out disinformation. And now we hearing that he getting in bed with Dana White. And I this is my only question, right? Because I used to dabble with the UFC, you know what I'm saying, a while ago. Boxing was always my one of my sports other than football. It was always like number 2, but when boxing became number 1, before I really started doing content, I would look at some of them UFC fights. Like this was mainly back when Chuck Liddell was the man, the Iceman. You know what I'm saying? Chuck Liddell. That's back when I would watch it back then. And some of them guys. With Randy and Tito Ortiz. All of them guys, right? Back then. But I was never a diehard for it. I just would watch it, right? But I was wondering, like with all these people, because some people they still gonna try to justify it, man. It's just like the people who was involved in that infamous transatlantic trade, man. When they sold all them people, they say up the river, but it wasn't really up the river. It was, if you believe in it, if you believe that it happened, it was across the ocean. But these people still sound like them tradesmen who was sending people across the ocean, who started off as indentured servants and ended up in Chattel, who ended up in sounding just like that, still backing this guy, still jockeying for this guy, still co-signing, saying, "Oh man, look at what Dana." It's like, no, okay, so let's play the game. See, I think a lot of people know how to play chess, but they never play the whole game out. Like, they don't sit there and play the whole game out. Like, there's a lot of people that start movies, and for whatever reason, when I'm consciously make a decision to watch a movie, I like, okay, I'm like, sometimes me and my lady, we be like, all right, we're gonna give it 15, 20 minutes. If it ain't popping, or if it ain't getting well, or we see some weird stuff, or we think it's going somewhere else, okay, we ain't gonna do it. But once we into it and we commit to watching it, we're gonna finish the movie. Some people never fully play a full game of chess. Even when they playing against the community, they make one bad move and then they lose a man or lose the queen, and then they think, oh man, it's game over. They don't even fully play the game out. So I was looking at the whole thing with Dana White, and I'm like, well, you saying he was so great for UFC, but I keep hearing about pay. It's like, yeah, for a period of time when people were jockeying, thinking that they could make all this money and do all this, yeah, it was real competitive. It was ultra competitive. You couldn't, because you was part of the league. You had to do whatever he said, right? But then I was reminded. I can't even say reminded, but I had it in the back of my mind all of this time. What was the biggest name in MMA, in the UFC at that point in time was who? Francis Ngannou, right? So why did Francis Ngannou leave? The biggest, baddest man. Why did he leave? Why did he have that big ass hiatus where he wasn't fighting nobody? And what made him go over and flirt with boxing? What made him leave? He was the biggest, baddest man. What would make the biggest, baddest man leave? So I guess at a period of time, that'd be like LeBron saying, you know what, I'm out. I'm about to go play in the Canadian League. Or I'm out, man. I'm about to go play for China. I'm about to go ball over there with China. Almost like how Stephon Marbury did. I don't really think it was much of a choice for Marbury. And Marbury didn't reach the heights as a LeBron James, even though he was a great, excellent player. But I'm just saying, when you the biggest, baddest thing, you the biggest thing in the pond, you the biggest fish in the ocean, what would make you get up and leave? Yeah, people don't play chess. They don't follow it all the way out. But there are a lot of things that Turki Ala has done, and he's slowly been revealing who he is and what he's been all about. And more comes out. It's just that people be thirsty, man. When you thirsty and the people that you watch be so thirsty, that's dangerous. Because you can't sip from every cup. Every drink is not made for you. And a lot of the times, things that we drink, they don't really hydrate. They're diuretics. They dehydrate. So under the guys, you think, oh man, it's natural. It can do this, it can do that. It's still a diuretic. It's still going to dehydrate you. But then again, this is fruits and veggies, not that Reggie, man. This is fact-based content. This is for my higher level thinking people, my critical thinkers. And to let y'all know, I am here. I'm here. I still have that issue. Watch. It's going to do it. It's still doing that thing, but those are some things, man. Like, people in hindsight, man, people are actually giving Lamont Roach his credit, which is good for Lamont Roach. His glow up is good. I seen him over there with Shannon and Chad on I think it was Nightcap. They interviewed him. I mean, his glow up, and that's great. That's a wonderful thing what Tank did, man. He actually got him to glow up. The glow up is real. I hope Lamont handles and makes the right decisions. And he got his father with him. His father was level-headed, man. His father coached him beautifully through that fight, gave him great counsel. You know, it was one voice. Lamont Roach adhered to the game plan very well. He actually executed. He stayed committed to it, and he saw it out. I just hope that he don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, man. I hope he don't get tricked off his square. I hope we get that rematch. I wouldn't knock a fight with him with Lamont Roach and Keyshawn or Lamont Roach and Shakur. I definitely wouldn't. Go on, get your money, little duffel bag boy, if that's what it is. But let's not be hindsight is 2020 all the time, man. Like, and let's not move these standards. We gotta maintain these standards, bro. If Lamont was a nobody and why Tank pick him and he don't fight nobody, you should be reaming the shit out of Shakur and Keyshawn right now for trying to fight Lamont Roach because Tank had because of the performance Tank had against him. If a judgment was rendered and the man was a champ and he was the champion at 135, okay, cool. But it's kind of crazy how that man was with. Normally they shit on pro box fighters. Oh man, he was just fighting on pro box. Like that's a derogatory thing. Oh man, he fighting a dude from pro box, man. Who did blah blah blah? And now all of a sudden, overnight, everybody went like, come on, man. We don't have no level of consistency. We out here sounding thirsty. We out here waiting, and depending on your favorite fighter, you out here waiting to see what your favorite fighter actually chooses to do, and then you just going to justify whatever it is he chooses to do. You don't hold him up. You don't put him on the scale. You don't measure. You don't pull out the measuring stick. We want to know the height, the depth, the breadth, the width, the capacity, the buoyancy, the volume. You don't do that. You only do that with one fighter. Do that with yours. Because that's very, very hypocritical, man. Very, very, very hypocritical of us to do that. Put them all on the scale. And don't be out here lying. Like, if you see a fight and something happen in the fight, man, just say what your eyeball seen, man. But I'm gonna be sitting here, and like I told y'all before, I told y'all before that everybody was gonna try to fight Lamont Roach after Tank fight. When it was just a week ago. Everybody was still the only talking point was who is Lamont Roach. Now everybody wants Lamont Roach to fight Shakur. Like, come on, man. And there's a lot of bandwagon people out here. Just jumping from jockstrap to jockstrap. Salute, AC. Says salute, Bodywork. AC.
Yep, what's good, bro?
What's happening, man?
Not much, man, not much. I got a little wrapped up in shit. I was trying to get in earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like when you first started the show so I could hear the whole cook.
Oh, okay.
But at the end of the day, I guess I get the gist of it to whereas
Yo, Trey
the,
Mode 2323. What's up? Salute. But go ahead, AC.
yeah, it's like the tide, if you want to say it like that. You feel what I'm saying, or the deep water current, is trying to shift directions, and where it's trying to go right now, it makes it look like there's a weird pass that might be given, or is trying to be given, to Shakur. You feel what I'm saying? And I would probably say some of it probably stems from Shakur fans. You feel what I'm saying? Because they may look at it as Shakur ain't got to throw that many punches when it comes down to a Lamont Roach fight. That'll be more tactical. So you feel what I'm saying? So they like, oh, maybe that's the issue. I just think it'll be a good fight. Outside of that, it's like, what was brought up earlier. It's funny how fighters these days get hurt hands for one fight, but then jump right into another fight. But you got hurt hands to fight this guy. You feel what I'm saying? Like the example you brought up, and I'll probably say you brought it up in this cook, is where you're saying, all right, we was all clamoring for the Shakur versus Tank fight. You feel what I'm saying? There was a lot of debate. Everybody's from the rumor mills and in YouTube streets, you got they were saying that maybe the Tank and Shakur fight is done. It's just seeing who show up and see if they could build upon everybody's last performance. Okay, Tank has a controversial decision given to him, but you were willing to fight this guy off of 4 days notice. You feel what I'm saying? And you were willing to fight a lower ranked Schofield, and you were willing to fight a Joe Cordina who was coming off a loss and coming up. It's rightfully so to ask the question, why does everybody want Lamont Roach right now? When that Tank fight can still happen. As far as we know, he didn't lose. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, the energy still should be for the Tank fight. At the end of like that following whatever, I was like, look, I think it was already baked in the pie, because at the end, you've already got the main card and a possible, co-main right there. 2 fights, done deal. And everybody's gonna want to see him. You feel what I'm saying? So that's in the rematch. But outside of the rematch, if the fight doesn't happen, why can't Shakur just fight Tank? It's a legitimate
That's what
question.
I was saying, because the last thing I seen was like, okay, when they interviewed him, he said, oh man, I'm gonna fight him, but I want to fight him when my hands are healed. I'm like, okay, cool. I ain't gonna be hard on you, because there you go, his hands is healed. You know who was jumping out there talking about, oh man, you want him when his hands. I'm like, okay, all right, cool, that's cool. His hands need to heal. Okay. So where's all this energy? Like, I thought you supposed to be going back healing. Now you come out like a Don and all black with the shades, talking about that's the most money you ever made. I'm like, I saw the number. I guess them were fake numbers they put up as far as the pay, and I don't even like the pocket watch. You come out talking about that's the most money you ever made, and now it's you would do Roach like this, and you would do that, and yeah, let's do it, let's get it, and then between Wally Kid and Wally Cat, they both were. I'm like, but hold on, you had other plans, bro. Like Wally Cat, you had other plans over there with Top Rank. So now, all of a sudden, the guy who a week ago, right up into the fight, why Tank? See, Tank don't fight nobody, and we heard that shit. I probably heard it, man. I know I heard it at least 1,000 times. I know I've heard it at least 1,000 times. So why now? Why now is he somebody? But this is a reoccurring pattern, bro. This is a reoccurring pattern, because I flipped it last time when I said, okay, when Shakur was getting ready to fight Frank Martin, everybody, we was clamoring for that. We was like, oh, it's about to be a fight. Like, we wanted it, right? And then when that didn't go down, soon as Tank said soon as it was announced that Tank had him, oh man, see there you go, he don't fight nobody. I'm like, this shit is ingrained in certain fans, and we gotta stop that shit.
And that's where we keep asking the question. It's like, yeah, and he ain't trying to fight nobody. I said, okay, so him trying to fight Loma, who walked away, him trying to fight Shakur, who walked away. Those two are nobodies in boxing. I mean, if that's what you guys want to lay in your plane, I'm fine with that. But you can't have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was just like, okay, let's just say the rematch doesn't happen. What do these three guys do, and where do they go? You feel what I'm saying? What do you do with the energy you already built up and everything like that? So for me, it's coming at it in that direction. Although I'd much rather see either the rematch or Tank versus Shakur if the Lamont Roach fight doesn't happen. You feel what I'm saying? So
I
it's
want to tie loose win. I want to tie loose ends, and while we got lightning in the bottle, like to get it like as soon as they can, like in May, if they can do it in May. I mean, shoot, take some rest, go back into training camp. Let's nip it in the bud, because it could be a trilogy. Like depending on how. I mean, it could be. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. It could be if people say, oh, he got his number and it's just he hit his wall and that's his arch nemesis and all this other stuff. Now all this like super exaggerated stuff that they saying right now. I'm like, let's nip it in the bud and let them guys, like, they need to find their own food, man. Like this shit is getting ridiculous to where it's like, in hindsight, now that's what everybody, because even Shakur was saying he'll go to 40 to fight Ryan. He'll go to 40 to fight.
Oh,
Cruz.
now you'll go to 40 to fight.
Now Ryan. You'll go to 40 to fight Cruz. And now I'm starting to see some shit with.
Just
with
a couple of weeks ago, you was just a 35 pounder. Just a couple of weeks ago, you just said, "Nah, I'm a 35 pounder."
And that, and the new narrative is, well, I'm never going to 47. Like I'm never going to be above. I'm like, man, like it's just weird. Like, yo, I'll beat the shit out of T.O. I'll go, because actually I'm bigger than him. You say you bigger than him, but he getting ready to go. If he get through his hurdles and obstacles, he gonna be up at welterweight.
Yeah.
He gonna go up there and fight Boots if he go through this gauntlet like he trying to go to. Only thing I didn't touch on tonight that I wanted to was the fight with Ryan and Rolly, T.O. and Barbosa, and Devin and Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, that looks interesting. You feel what I'm saying? Although I'm here in New York and that's just a subway ride for me, I'm not going out there. I'm going to watch that shit on TV because I'm not fucking around with NYPD. But they'll just be looking for a reason to lock a nigga up. That shit is a trap. If you hear from New York, let all the tourists go and let them do their thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not fucking with that trap. But outside of that, I'm looking to watch the fight for several different reasons. One is definitely there just to see what Devin looks like coming back, if he's right or whatever. But outside of that, man, listen, man, this whole Lamont Roach thing, it's gotten to the point where it's just like, all right, let's just settle down. This is not the first time we've seen this. You know what I'm saying? In boxing, although it doesn't get any easier watching it happen over and over again. So when the ugly head of boxing comes out and it sticks its head out and shit like that, you know they're gonna be some niggas turned into stone. You feel what I'm saying? Because that shit is like Medusa. It'll freeze you right in your place and it'll be a minute before you can get movement, depending on what type of fighter we talking about. But for the guy who can survive Medusa, you'll go on to become a hero. You feel what I'm saying? In the public perception. But to those of us who watch the sport, we like, yo, bro, you took that loss. And the ugly head of boxing saved you because there are bigger fights. Now, if you want to just nip everything in the bud and go right back and get the rematch and shit like that, fine. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be the dude to hold you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying you're getting ready to give that guy a hell of a lot of energy and shit like that moving forward. You feel what I'm saying? Because he felt he was slighted in the AMs, he felt he was slighted in the pros, and I don't think 3 times in a row he gonna be able to live with himself. But then again, if you go and fight Shakur, what if they do the same thing? You win, but the ugly head of boxing shows its face and says, you know what, but we still want to see the Shakur versus Tank thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I looked at it like this. Now I'm a Tank fan. Like, I know him. Like, that's my guy. And like, I know when my fighters, even when Jamel went in there with Canelo, man, it's something about when you know your fighters, like the guys that you spend time watching, doing content on, like, you already know. And I said it over there on Pop Channel when we had that Diva conversation. I said, to me, man, this whole camp, like, all this shit is off to me. Like, remember?
Yeah, you said it when we had our conversation.
Yeah, I said, man, the whole thing is off. I was like, the whole thing with Barry being there, I was like, it's off. Like, it's like, so it's like, I thought that if it gets overturned, it's a lesson for Tank, because it's a lot of things that he's been having going on in his fights where he's always entertaining somebody in the crowd. Gamboa punched him when he was looking out in the crowd. He does these things to where there are times when he's in there and he's so used to entertaining or being like that little kid that want to run around and touch everything in the store when he's supposed to be keeping his hands to himself. He does that. So there were things, and it's like a lot of the things going into this may have caught up to him. Like, do I think that was his best performance? No. Do I think that he could have done better? Hell yeah. Do I because I was sitting there when I was texting y'all, I was looking at my lady. I said, man, this dude was goofing off for the first 6 rounds damn near. And I'm like, it just didn't look right. So I'm like, look, I'm not one of them knee pad wearing dudes that's just gonna be like, oh no, he won, he really did. No, I'm not gonna do that, bro. Like, in my heart of hearts, Lamont deserved to get his hand raised. But I think that a lot of that had to deal with what Tank wasn't doing. Tank didn't start going to work, and then the fact that he damn near told on himself when he looked up and said, oh, what the, like, he looked up like the fight about to be over, like he lost track of time.
Yeah.
Like, through all of the shenanigans, he was not focused. Going into this, it was a lot of talk about retire, all that other shit. And I talked about this in my video. I said, yeah, if he taking this guy lightly, or he thinking, you know, because Lamont, he gonna come with his hard hat and his lunch pail. He's gonna go to work, and he was disciplined enough to do it. That's why I didn't like the fact that the business of boxing robbed him. So whether they overturn it or not, I don't even think that shit ain't gonna do nothing to Tank. That shit ain't gonna do nothing but motivate him. Like, okay, all right, that's how it is. Okay, cool. It's almost like your rite of passage. It's like a rite of passage. But if this is not, for everybody was saying, it's not, oh, they cherish the over and all this. It's like, okay, so if he got a blemish, he got a blemish.
Yeah.
Act like he food. Go get you something to eat since he food now.
Yeah.
It's just a way to discredit him and say, oh, nah, but we don't want to see that. No, it's like, nah. We ain't gonna let y'all slide by with that bullshit. Lamont was able to do that. You get your ass in there and you do that. It ain't gonna be the same, because he ain't gonna respect you like a friend. Like, I ain't never seen Tank give nobody that much respect and dap somebody up in the middle of the round, in between rounds, and all that talking they was doing. That shit was driving me nuts during the whole fight. Yeah,
definitely. I'm gonna say it like this, bro. I'm the type of boxing fan that loves when a guy I really like is fighting, and I'm a huge fan of his, and then he takes that L. I'm like, yeah, now we really get to see who you are. Yeah, this is the championship part of life right now. You know what I'm saying? Before you was living like a prospect, and you was living on the high horse. Now you got that L. Let's see how you come back. Let's see if there's that true level of greatness in you. You feel what I'm saying? This is why I don't mind that Devin lost. This is why I don't mind even if the fight is overturned. Lamont Roach fought his heart out. You feel what I'm saying? He fought his heart out, didn't pop dirty, stayed focused, do all the like you say, shenanigans and shit like that was going on, and saying the fight was canceled, and everybody like, oh, see this Tank and Tank, and it's like, yeah, but did you hear anything concrete from the guy you keep mentioning his name? No. As far as the box rate go, that fight is still happening. So that's where.
Look, to me, I think this might have been the best thing that could happen.
Yeah,
I think so, because now the pressure to try to be up there with Floyd and all that pressure that everybody got to try to move around with they owe and all this other stuff, is like, okay, you got a blemish. You ease by with a draw. Okay, cool. Go ahead and write that wrong, and then go part 2 of your killing spree. Crank up part 2 of your killing spree.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't look at it like this. So what Buddy was saying earlier, I'm like, that's why he be starting to derail the conversations in the whole.
Yeah, because that's what he want to do. He just want to be a disruptor. You
that's
feel
what I'm saying. I don't do that.
There's no point in you showing up because you just want to show up for the debate and the argument. You're not coming in to drop content. You're going to make some outrageous statement and then try to use, facts of another situation to say that is the fact of that situation. And no matter what you do, then you're going to become that professional bodybuilding goalpost mover that, when you get caught out on the point and you have no place else to go, well, what about blah, blah, blah? Then you go into your whataboutism. So the game plan is there. That's why I tend to just laugh at him. You feel what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, look, the fans out here in boxing, you know what I'm saying? Where we are right now is the pinnacle of what will you do? Will you be a knee pad wearer, or will you keep the same energies? You feel what I'm saying? Or, so whatever side of the fence you want to be on, then it's just everybody's just going to know who you are moving forward, because you're telling everyone, this is who I am. You're telling everyone, this is my Maya Angelou moment, and this is who the fuck I am. And if I'm telling you this is who I am, believe me. So that's where I'm at with it, man. It's like, listen, I already know the nature of who you are.
And look, his butt buddy been sticking his chest out. I'm like, dude, it wasn't a win for you, bro. Why are you acting like it was a win for you? Yeah. Like he been having this extra, like I've been hearing him lately, and I'm like, it make me, because when you put his ass in the scope, then it's, why you want to be like that, right? They acting all sensitive. That's why I'm like, I don't even like talking to people like that. They get to say and hold the floor. It's just like the other day when I caught my man contradicting himself, like straight up. He just was going to war with me about taking his A side. Then he was like, well, it's the A side. It's your responsibility to make the fight. Then I bring up the Frank Martin situation. Oh no, that's different. It's like, oh, okay, no further questions, bro. Yeah, exactly. It's like, y'all do this. I tell y'all, man, for it's different standards for these other guys, and that's the only thing I really be speaking for. I understand the stances. I understand that you support and you root and you want to see. We all want to see the elite fight the elite, but we got to keep the same energy. And if we don't, it's just gonna be a bunch of circle jerking. It's just gonna be. That's why I don't like going certain places, because I know. Going in, that's all they want to do. Like, nope. And anybody that come up with anything that they can't really answer is, oh man, why you hate him so much? It's like, man, that shit be making me want to slap the shit out of somebody, for real.
Yeah, it's like, why you hating? And that shit don't make no sense. It's like, okay, it don't make no sense to you because you can't see 10 feet ahead of you when you got somebody's dick in your mouth. It's just that's just the reality of it, bro. So it's not gonna happen. So why are you trying to debate me about what's happening 10 feet away when you can't even see what's 6 inches away from you? So just leave it alone. Don't even try to argue with me because you're not where I'm at. You feel what I'm saying? And I don't want to turn around and see that shit. So I'm definitely not turning around to entertain your stupid shit. And that's where some dudes get offended because I'm telling them, listen, common sense would tell you this. And then they're like, what do you mean common sense? Well, you know, for some niggas, you know, sense is not common. You feel what I'm saying? So I got to tell you, I got to remind y'all that you do have a memory. You do have a brain in your head. So how about using it instead of just using it to just regurgitate what you heard 10 minutes ago? What happened last week? What happened, you know, last month? In some instances, what happened last year? Because if you hop on a train and you're trying to go somewhere and you somehow or another get there and you ain't ask yourself, all right, the last thing I remember, I was on the train, so how did I get here? The nigga you lost.
Mm-hmm. It'd be crazy how they accuse me of hating, but they come on just to hate on one person.
Yeah.
They don't ever spread that shit around and point out nothing, and it's all this typewriter. They all move to the side, move to the next thing you know, you talking about some shit that don't got nothing to do with the main point. And that's all I really be doing. I be trying to keep people like right there to address it, to fully address it, and then it's like Groundhog Day, because the next time we talk, it be the same stuff.
Yeah,
that's
you go right
like,
back to the
man,
same thing, and it's like, wait a minute, we just went over this before. How can you go back to that?
So, yeah, I mean, I think, look, all in all, I think that this right here is probably the best thing that ever happened with Tank. It relieved a lot of pressure to try to even think, even though I never put him and Floyd in the same category as far as like numbers and like people wanting to see them fight, yeah. But as far as like who Floyd was and what he did and who Tank is and what he does, never put them in the same category. It's like I don't put Shakur and Floyd in the same category.
Yeah.
He has a glimpse of some of the defensive stuff, if you want to say that, but that's where that stops. You know, just like Bud and Keyshawn, they not, yeah, he got some glimpses of Bud, but he's not Bud. Like, so yeah. I've never done it. I think that this fight was a humbling experience. That's why I had him on Adversity University. I like when my fighters go through adversity because, like you said, it tests their mettle. It tests like who you are, how you gonna move, how you gonna act. You know, now, okay, cool. They've been on your back. They've been wanting to pull and tear you down. And now some of the people that I would least likely think to come to his defense is coming to his defense. And I find that so odd, is because it's almost like they had to see him humble before they could acknowledge who he really is.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Which is weird, but that's like some black people shit, man. I ain't gonna lie. That's some black people shit, man. Like,
no, it is definitely some black boxing.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the weirdest thing. I'm like, man, we do that all the time. Like, but I don't think that, to me, he's still a special fighter. He still got all the goods, and can't nobody go in there and really. And I said Lamont had to maintain his level of testosterone. He had to damn near be perfect almost. He had to be disciplined, patient, and he had to do that for 12 rounds. And he pulled it off. I'm like somebody can do it, but yeah. These guys that's living high off the hog of sin, it's just like when you know as a chef, they go in there and they see you do it, and they like, you like, all right, it's your turn. And they go in there, they think, oh man, that's how you did. Oh, I could do this, and they get in there like, hold on, where's my eggs? Like, hold on, what did I need? Nah. You saw AC do that, but Chef Aaron, you seen Chef do that. So now you think because you seen Chef do that you can go do that, but that don't mean you can do that. Like, you could be going head to head with another chef, and another chef might edge you out or do whatever. That don't mean that somebody else gonna get on there and sit across from them crosshairs from you, and they gonna be able to do the same thing.
Exactly.
It don't work like that.
It's the judges. if one judge prefers a lot of his shit to be sweet, savory, and the other judge wants that sourness of citrus in his shit. If you don't know the nature of the judges or whatever, if both of us going in blind and that guy just happened to cook on what the judges prefer, after I read about it, I'm be like, oh man, he edged me out because mine was more on this and his was that, and he caught the judge's eye because he hit that flavor profile that they like. I can't be. Only thing I could do is money next time, and I know these judges now. I'm gonna keep a mental note, so next time I see, and if it comes down to me and you again, I'm gonna beat you at that game. It drives me, it motivates me to do better. You know, when something fails, certain things fail, and for me, I'm like, if they rematch soon, it's going to be extremely interesting. It's going to be extremely interesting as far as just the dynamics of the fight.
And to piggyback off of that, I think that one of the things that's my pet peeve is like Tank chose that dude, and we got the outcome that we got. Allow him to close that door or to get whatever, because he was off everybody's radar. So for everybody to come in and be like, oh, I want a piece and I want this, it's like, nah, y'all was saying that, nah, let us handle our business. We got to do this again, and we gotta shut this door to see if the right man, if he should have got his hand raised or not or whatever. Like, nah, let them be. So I think it's some sucker shit that everybody want to tip their hand in the pot. Now it's like, not saying that you shouldn't have an opportunity, or that Lamont can't go get some money with you or whatever. But keep that same energy that y'all had before when y'all was saying that he was cherry picking and all that, because really a lot of people should be eating crow on that.
Yeah.
But they don't do that.
Yeah, and they just still want to say, no, period. He was a cherry pick that going wrong. He was a C-level fighter. I was like,
but that don't even prove that. See, that don't even make sense for their point now. So why you want your fighter to go fight somebody that's
and I'm like,
now?
but then why are we talking about, Shakur got back to him, and Shakur looking to get the fight with him. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm saying I would like to see the fight if these other things don't happen, but I want to see it for a different reason, and y'all want to see it. Y'all want to see it just because of some other shit, to where you really believe that he's gonna beat him, and then it's gonna make Tank look so bad because you arguably got beat by a guy Jamal Herring beat up really bad, who Shakur beat up really bad. You want this fight because you want to use that triangle theory talking point. It has nothing to do with skill set for you. It has nothing to do with the stylistic matchup for you. You just want that talking point. It's the only fucking reason you'll watch the fight.
Yeah,
I'm watching it because I think it'll be a good fight.
Yeah, because I pulled Buddy Card the other day from the West Coast. I was like, yeah, but you ain't had that same energy when it came to De Los Santos. At least Tank saying, I want a rematch. And he turned around and said, hey, I want May. But nobody had that same energy. Because that's all but we going to talk to the talking points, because they get real quiet and then they want to talk about something else, or they want to move on real quick to something else when I bring that up. It's like Shakur didn't have that same energy for De Los Santos.
Exactly. But the fans did. The fans was demanding that he rematch De Los Santos. It's
they were saying why. They were saying why, man? Because we really didn't see nothing. They set a record, bro. That wasn't like
these punches. And then he said he hurt his hand. So give him the time to fix his hand, and then give us the De Los Santos rematch.
That was too much to ask for. That's what I'll be saying. I just try to keep the same energy, man.
But we just gonna keep it with the same energy. But old boy from Cali was saying, no, that makes no sense because he already proved that he beat him, and he basically beat him with one hand. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, bro?
But that was a matter of judges too. That was a business of boxing, because really, because some of these fights,
De Los Santos winning that fight.
Because like you said with the judges, it's the matter of preference, because who was forcing the fight, who was pushing the action, like, because they be saying that they don't go, because I be talking about the 4 scoring criteria, but then they go into, well, when you look at it, such and such was the aggressor and he was forcing the action, and yeah, you know, such and such might have been more accurate, but this, they all got their different preferences. But like I saw, you can look at that fight a couple different ways too, because they set a record. They set a record after Regis and what's that guy? Regis and that Puerto Rican dude went at Zarilla. Regis and Zarilla has set a record, right? They came out like a month later and set another record. Like that was an anomaly.
Yeah.
For lowest punches landed and lowest, like they set a record. They came back
championship fight. Like what?
For a vacant. For a vacant.
And y'all want me to respect that he's a champion at 35, and that performance, you feel what I'm saying? And here's the thing. Name me, like they always try to, well, Jake ain't never fought a number one contender, you know, in his career, but you telling me what Shakur did back then. All right, at 35, since y'all only want to talk about 35 and what Tank hasn't done at 35, I'm asking, what has Shakur done at 35? That don't matter. And I was like, wait a minute. How the fuck you mean it don't matter? You just made all of these comments about this dude, and when I tried to bring up other things, you was like, no, but we talking about 35. We talking about what he ain't doing at 35. Okay, what is Shakur doing at 35? That don't matter. Oh, we just dipped to that level of stupidity, and we just gonna put that jacket on with the sunglasses and the hat and everything. That's what we doing. Okay, all right. If that's what it is, listen. I ain't trying to debate you on reality. But if you think this man isn't doing anything at 35, you should really, really be critical of your guy of what he's done at 35. But don't nobody want to fight him at 35. That's why you can't judge him. Oh, don't nobody want to fight him. But yet we've got people that called him out. Yes, there were some people that business ducked or strategically ducked. It wasn't like they were scared. You feel what I'm saying? So
it's looking more like what you said as far as that one guy, like somebody tapped him on the shoulder, because can't nobody sit up here and tell me. This is another thing people can't tell me. I saw with my own eyes. Before the pullout and after the pullout, that man energy changed, bro. That man looked like he was relieved.
Yeah.
That man looked like he was relieved. Like when he found out Schofield pulled out his whole energy, he was upbeat. Because all before it was gang face, war paint, all that. Like after that,
yeah. Yo, listen, Body. I've seen looks like that from guys that I know I'm telling on myself that I'm sitting in the bullpen with, and they just worried as hell if they gonna make bail. And they just got that worried ass look and shit like that. Like, damn, I hope they don't remand me because for whatever reason. But they got this serious worried look, and I'm just like, I hear what you're saying, but I think Shakur is also reading what's on the internet and popping in and out of some chats, and he's seeing that, yo, people think that you could possibly slip up and fuck up. You feel what I'm saying? If your hands ain't 100%, you know what I'm saying? And get knocked out by Floyd or get sat down or something. Everybody's expecting you to win, but we also gonna keep in the back of our head that, hey, shit can happen, especially if your hands ain't 100%, and this kid coming in there not looking for a boxing match but looking for a fight. Hey, anything can happen, bro, and I'm not gonna put it past. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's the perfect storm to slip on a banana peel. You know what I'm saying? It's wet, it's windy. You feel what I'm saying? Visibility is low. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, anything can happen. And when that whole situation played out, I'm like, okay, on both sides, nobody's saying anything that makes sense. Okay, how many weeks are we out past this? And what happened to the investigation where they need proper documents from a doctor? What happened to the possibility of the lawsuit to make that man make him pay for his slanderous remarks, and they don't play like that over there, but they let that nigga fly the fuck home. Floyd, if we gonna go by what happened with Floyd owed some motherfuckers some money, and they kept his ass there. So that's money versus you breaking another law, and you an American. Why wouldn't they keep your ass over there? Why they let you go home? Because you got a tap on your shoulder, enjoy the festivities. We're not gonna, just don't get crazy with it. When he started to get crazy with it, they said, listen, we could do this to you. He said, all right, I'll shut the fuck up. I'll say what I gotta say when I get home, but enjoy the festivities, enjoy everything Dubai has to offer you, but it's not your time right now, champ. And there is no legal action for nothing where everybody was like, yeah, this is about to happen and they ruined their career. Okay, he's home. He's home. How is his career ruined? Where is all of this stuff that they was talking over there? Where's the BBOCC, whatever the fuck that is over there? Where's their investigation into Floyd Schofield going to the hospital?
Yeah.
Where is all of that?
There's still a lot of unanswered questions, and then they said that the ship sailed on the fight. They like, yeah, listen, that ship sailed. We not even looking. Like, Floyd is young. He's gonna be the greatest fighter in the world, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, as far as the people, man, the people still looking at you sideways. They're gonna be looking at you at the cookout like, nah, nigga, you can't play dominoes with us. You can't play spades. You gonna have to do something spectacular before you win the people back over.
Yeah, nigga, we heard some shit about you, and now you showing up at the cookout in all pink.
Yeah, nah, you can't get no barbecue. Ain't
sus
nothing
right now, nigga. You sus. Fuck a nigga get pink socks and pink sneakers. Like, you sus.
But yeah, man, I'm gonna let you land the plane, man. I'm gonna wrap it up. I just wanted to touch bases on this and put a stake in the ground on this.
Yeah, no, my plane is landed, man. Hopefully all this messy shit plays itself out, but it's whenever you build a controversy, or it's the controversy, shit gets extra messy these days because of social media and people that just want to push narratives and shit like that. So shit will tend to get extra messy, but that extra messy shit is what actually builds and sells the rematch. So the promoters, everybody's loving this. They're loving the fact that people are going after each other. There's this whole Shakurian, everybody in the land of Shakurian is jumping for joy. They're singing the Shakurian national anthem and everything else, bro. So it is what it is, bro. So great cook, man. Again, man, great chopping it up with you. You feel what I'm saying? This is where we keep it honest. You know what I'm saying? That fruits and veggies and not that Reggie, if that's how you say it, you know, hate, scribe, like, but make sure you participate, man. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna land my plane, bro.
I appreciate you coming through, man, and chopping it up.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, bro. Yeah, man. I gotta brush up on my Shakorian, man, and it's kind of hard when you gotta have these kind of conversations, and it kind of make it seem like you're not a fan of a guy. I always say, listen, man, I'm not an only fan. You got some guys that'll say, oh, it's about the sport. It's about the sport of boxing, and I just want what's best for the sport. Well, they don't play chess, and they don't look at all the pieces and play the game all the way out, right? But you really find that they're only fans. That's why I call them only fans. They're only fans of this one fighter or this one or two fighter. They only fans of that. I'm not an only fan. I'm not a Tank only fan. I'm a fan of all these young brothers, man. I know they could be doing something else, but it's funny to sit back and watch and listen to all the narratives about certain boxers when you actually do your fact check. Like, this boxer over here could be labeled a woman beater, but this boxer over here actually has film beating a woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's this weird, and I try not to do it, But sometimes, man, when somebody's just speaking straight facts, it's not hate. It's just straight facts. And I'm real with myself. I try to be transparent, and I'm never going to like lead nobody astray or try to hoodwink nobody into believing like I have a cult and you gotta follow me. I don't like yes men. So I like to be challenged, and it make me think. And every now and again I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, man, that was a good point. I can do that. You know, just like I can look at a fight and I can tell you, hey, I was rooting for this guy. I had money on this guy. And even at the expense of me losing money, I'm not going to lie to you or myself about what I seen. But the fake outrage got to stop, man, because there was no outrage for Sandor Martin that night. And I seen a lot of people crying for Ryo because they were saying, oh, he shouldn't have been in there. I'm like, man, that's like for people, for the sport and all that, man, just Ryo didn't get the job done that night. That don't mean we throwing El Ryo away. And that don't mean that Gary Antoine is the best thing since sliced bread. That just means it was his time to get a belt because he put on the performance that he needed to put on. He pitched a shutout. But Ryo's going to come back. He's going to be all right. Hopefully they get Sandor Martin in the mix. Hopefully we get the rematch between Puello and Gary Antoine, which I think is going to be very interesting as well. But I'm really pushing for the Lamont Roach rematch. And if Lamont Roach decides to fight Shakur and get, make a bag and, extend his legacy, cool. As a Tank fan, I ain't got nothing against that. I just want Tank. I want Tank and Lamont to finish this business since they started it. I'm one of the ones that want to see the chess game all the way out. Even if I lose the queen after about 6 moves. If I lose the queen after about 6 moves, I'm still going to play the game all the way out because I've lost the queen 5 or 6 moves and still won. So if we're going to keep the energy of where Lamont wasn't this, Lamont wasn't that, let Tank finish that bit. Let him and Tank finish their business. Unless the business of boxing is saying something else and we don't know. But let Tank finish that business and don't be hypocrites. That's the message, man. But I appreciate everybody who came through and chimed in. Hopefully you hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe if this might not be your cup of tea. But then again, my channel is Silence is Consent, meaning that they say that in order for evil to prevail, all it takes is for grown men to remain silent. So if you ain't saying nothing, you read between the lines. So we're going to say something. We're going to keep it a buck. We always keep it 10 times 10 because it can't be no more. It's just 100. That's it. If you hear this on a playback, talk to me. I'll talk back. Salute the AC for coming in and chiming in. Hit the like button on your way out. But thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga? Right? Oh, okay. You want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.